Chapter 441, Extra. 10 years later, epilogue concluded. Years passed like a weighty book whose pages turned silently one after another. Looking back, the once naive children had already moved into the middle chapters of their lives. Time slipped like sand through fingers, quietly taking away youth's outward gloss and leaving its traces. Small feet remembered from childhood now walked with purpose. Laughter and carefree joy had settled into steadier reflections and deeper looks. Some childhood dreams had been realized. Others had softened into gentle nostalgia. The years had not only added numbers, but also granted the wisdom of living and a calm, unhurried patience. Some people kept their original intentions, others were smoothed and mellowed by the current of time. Youthful arrogance and carelessness, paired with the increasing burdens on their shoulders, always made balance difficult. Time changed, and 10 years passed in a blur. Night spread like a richly painted scroll across the boundless sky. On this quiet, peaceful evening, small boats glided silently across the calm black lake, ghost-like, gently rocking. The boats were blackened by night, blending with the water, like dark lotuses rising from the lake's depths. Each boat carried a magic lamp at its prow. The orange glow, like scattered stars, twinkled in the darkness and lent a hint of mystery and romance to the still night. The boats cut lightly through the water with a faint, crisp sound that broke the lake's hush and seemed to stir the sleeping stars. As the boats moved, ripples spread outward like waves of time, recording the quiet beauty of the moment. It was the start of the school year. These boats came to collect the new students bound for Hogwarts, that castle of wonders. Hidden in the night, Hogwarts seemed even more mysterious. Towering turrets, shadowed corridors, flickering lights that whispered of ancient legends and unfinished destinies. The boats drifted toward the magic castle as if pursuing a distant dream, full of anticipation and longing. Night, boats, the Black Lake, and Hogwarts. Together they made a picture that intoxicated with its calm and mystery. The boats drew up to the jetty not far from the castle. "Careful, everyone. Line up and follow me," Hagrid called. Hagrid's towering frame, over 12 feet, spotted a few lively, red-haired teenagers at the very back. "Weasley again," he muttered under his breath, a trace of exasperation crossing his face. The annoyance didn't last. He remembered that Moody now kept watch over the grounds. With the retired Auror on duty, nobody would be getting into the Forbidden Forest. The thought made Hagrid's mouth curl with a small, amused smile. The young wizards behind him chattered as they went. "Vera, aren't you scared? Uncle Fred says the sorting ceremony is dangerous, really dangerous." A red-haired boy glanced nervously at the castle. "You believe my father? I haven't trusted a word he said since I was 3. Not one." The boy's words were met by a girl with equally fiery hair. The two were easily assumed to be related. A faint voice added, "My dad said the same, that Uncles George and Fred were right. The sorting's terrifying." "Aunt Potter said that too?" Vera asked, a little uneasy. She looked at the black-haired boy beside her. When she saw he wasn't joking, her face grew more serious. To her, Aunt Potter, a working Auror, was more reliable than her unpredictable father. The trio's conversation was not very private, and nearby students heard the gossip. Rumors that the sorting ceremony was dangerous and terrifying began to spread. A clear, pleasing voice then rang out like a songbird. "Those are just the Weasleys talking. No one believes them." Mention of the Weasleys drew immediate glare. Dennis and Vera turned to stare, indignant. The black-haired boy, Severus Potter, also halted and stood with his cousins. When he turned, though, he looked momentarily stunned. He hadn't expected the speaker to be not only so sweet-voiced, but so strikingly beautiful, like someone stepped out of a fairy tale. Her features were delicate and perfectly arranged, her skin pale and luminous as porcelain. Her long, platinum-blonde hair caught the light of the magic lamps and shimmered with subtle color, falling softly over her shoulders and when the wind stirred, releasing a faint scent of jasmine. Potter found himself oddly and suddenly captivated. The girl smiled, and 2 small canine teeth showed in a way that was both charming and slightly disdainful. She was proud and lovely, like a carefully made porcelain doll. Every detail seemed designed to enchant. Potter wasn't the only one taken. Dennis had noticed too. Vera, perceptive as ever, sensed the 2 boys' reactions and stepped forward. "Lucy Malfoy, that's enough. You can say what you like about me, but you don't get to talk about Weasley, Vera snapped. The two boys glanced away, awkward. Potter shared the indignation but kept stealing glances at the girl across from him. He did not realize his furtive looks had already been noticed. Lucy's smile grew triumphal, while Vera wore a look of exasperation at his lack of backbone. It was only a short distance, from the lake to the castle's side entrance, a few hundred meters, and in less than 15 minutes the students gathered before the great oak door. Hagrid raised his enormous fist and knocked. Thump, thump, thump. The sealed door opened from within, but instead of the tall, slender witch who had greeted arrivals in earlier years, a young man in blue robes stepped out, no older than 17 or 18. "Hagrid, leave it to me," he said. Eno stood at the doorway, quietly watching the ranks of new students assembled like obedient quails. Fate had turned once more. After many years, Malfoy, Potter, and Weasley had come together again at Hogwarts. P.S. Phew, the epilogue is finally over. The Wheel of Fate turns. 17 years of rest and calm have given the world of magic new protagonists to weave new stories. Finally, Xiao Di wishes everyone happy days and a good night's sleep.